Welcome in to the Ryan Ripken Orioles post-game show, otherwise known as the Orioles post-game prom, which stands for post-game Ryan Ripken Orioles Magic or Mania. We're still working on the name. We'll figure that out soon. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I know that it is late on Friday night, coming up on 11:40 here. After a game that, look, I think we could all call that the game of the year. Wild plays and brain delays and decisions that were good, decisions that were not good all the way around. Baltimore ends up on the losing end, though, 5-3 in extra innings. Took 11 of them, but the Orioles end up losing. We're here talking Orioles, and we'll get into everything. And, of course, I think while the game does have importance, and we'll talk about everything that happened in the game, the good, the bad, and the ugly, we'll also get into Kyle Bradish a little bit later, or maybe we'll get into it soon. Who knows? We have a lot to talk about. It's not just me, though. We have, I think as Joe calls it, hashtag volley on the street. I can't even see him.
Yeah, sorry. I'm walking under some trees right now. Hold up.
Yeah, like I put on a black screen, it looked like. I couldn't see it.
Yeah. All right, I'm kind of black. I'm kind of back.
Yeah, well, now you're going away again. Oh, there you go. There you are. So Zach is our stadium correspondent. He was at the game tonight. Before we get into the actual game, Zach, that felt like a World Series game, not even being there. I mean, felt like the atmosphere was there. The crowd was vibing. The crowd was electric. What was it like to be at Camden Yards tonight?
It was electric, like you said. It really was. It felt like a playoff atmosphere. It felt like a playoff game. And the game absolutely delivered with the atmosphere. I mean, what an insane game. Obviously, Orioles lose. That sucks. But just as a baseball fan, that game was as good as it gets. So you can't be too disappointed in it. But, atmosphere-wise, insane. Like you said, it was like a playoff game.
Yeah. So that's just game one, everybody. We got two more of these coming up in the next 2 days. So we're going to have hopefully plenty more electric baseball at Camden Yards over the next couple of days. There are plenty of storylines here, Zach. I mean, the Orioles lose the game. You know what? I was debating tweeting out. The Orioles said we'll resume the game at 11:05 when Braum hit that double. I'm like, are we sure we should do that? Are we sure we should? Or should we just, because the vibes were so high going into that rain delay? Obviously, they call Cedric safe. He gets his hand in right before the tag, which, by the way, all out dive by both Seti and the Phillies catcher there, trying to get in at the exact same time. But it's just so disappointing because they do this all the time, Zach. You and I make this point all the time where it's like they're not getting anything going. They get themselves back into it. They tie it up. They tie it up again, and they can't get the job done. I think that's what's most frustrating for a lot of people here. On top, I think of a couple other things, but what's your biggest frustration point right now? And then what are you kind of taking away from it, maybe hope-wise?
I mean, biggest frustration, like you said, is the Orioles had opportunities and couldn't get it done. Yeah. Ooh. Sorry, we're booing a Mets fan.
Good.
Yeah, Philly fans walk by and the Mets fans here, so we all booed them. Just baseball things. But disappointments, obviously, the Orioles had opportunities and couldn't get it done. We're turning right here. Sorry, I'm also leading the map.
Very good.
This way. All right, so Orioles, obviously, it's disappointing when they can't get runs in. They had a few opportunities, and it felt like just 2 strikeouts, especially where you'd like to see them get the bat off the shoulder looking, and it happened again in the 11th. It felt like we had so many strikeouts looking. That was my biggest frustration. But again, it was such a playoff atmosphere. It was such a high-intensity game for all 11 innings that I'm not too worried. I'm not too worried about it. I feel like the Orioles played a great game. Obviously, there are things that could have gone better. We'll get into the Bradish stuff. But overall, it's hard to be too upset with this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's disappointing because of the way, I mean, literally what, in a span of quite literally a minute and a half or, goodbye, 30 seconds.
I'm here.
I know. I know. We don't want, while it would be content if you got lost, I don't want you to get lost. So you got to do your thing with the map. Okay. Yeah. So it just feels like, if the Orioles win this game, it's like, it feels almost like a statement game in a way, right? Where it's like, if they can pull out a win, It's like, okay, nothing was going for them on offense. They again struggle with runners in scoring position. I think this was the most trouble they've had clearly with runners in scoring position in a couple of weeks now. I mean, what was it? One of 13, one of 14. Like it was not good runners in scoring position wise. So look, when you score 3 runs, or I guess when you give up 3 runs in regulation, you should be winning those games.
1 of 13.
Right. So when you give up 3 runs in regulation, your pitching staff with the Orioles offense should be winning that game. And look, the offense will struggle, but I think it's disappointing because we know the potential of this offense. We've seen them live up to that, but then we also have games like this. And this is not the first time we have talked about runners in scoring position and making it happen. Zach just completely abandoned me. So I guess I'm riding solo again. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, look, there were multiple things in this game that you have the right to be upset about. Now, I'm personally upset about them. One of them being the inconsistency of this offense. I think another one, the Orioles took a lot of pitches tonight. They did. They took a lot of third strikes in particular. Adley, I know, had one. And look, were the calls great on every single one? No. The strike zone was wide. Now, I thought the crew was decently consistent throughout the night with their calls, but still, it's like, I'd rather have the calls be right as opposed to them being consistent. Like, obviously, consistency is good, but some of those balls, but it's like, can you take that pitch with 2 strikes? Is I think the conversation. O'Hearn and Cowser. So it is disappointing, but you know, at the end of the day, this is a potential World Series preview. It's 2 teams that I think, you know, we haven't heard the last of. And again, this is just game 1. We got 2 more of these coming up. So at the end of the day, Baltimore just didn't do enough, especially on offense, to get the job done. Getting into just some very general stats really quick here. Obviously, Adley opened things up after Cedric got on board with a double. By the way, Cedric is finding his groove again, it feels like. Whether it be as a hitter, I know he had that double, and then the absolutely electric play at the plate, which he got his hand in there, called him out initially, but I'm glad they ended up getting it right. Tony Taters obviously ties the game up in the 8th with his solo homer. So it was such an up and down game. I mean, it was the game of the year because it was like, okay, the Orioles are struggling, and then, okay, they get enough to tie the game. Then, all right, then another run scores, and okay, then they tie the game up again. Then there's a rain delay. It's like, it's this up and down, up and down, up and down roller coaster. So we'll just see what ends up happening. And by the way, for people who are, you know, this is a post-game show, everybody. If you don't want spoilers to the game, we're going to talk about the game. So I'm just going to put a disclaimer out here now. If you did not watch the game and you want to watch the game without spoilers, I highly recommend not tuning into this and tuning into it after you finish the game because, I mean, this is a post-game show, guys. We're going to talk about the game. So just wanted to put that out there. Let's talk about a couple of other different things. Pitching-wise, we will get into Kyle Bradish and the injury situation. But Keegan Aiken, I mean, unbelievable here. We got to give a clap to Keegan Aiken. 3 innings, scoreless, hitless, 4 strikeouts, right? Keegan Aiken is a guy that has gotten a lot of criticism, and a lot of it deservingly so, based off of some of the way he's performed. But Keegan Aiken came in there, and if I had to give a 1 up, it has to be, in my opinion, Keegan Aiken. I mean, a guy where Bradish goes out after 5, and you're thinking, where are they going to get this bullpen? What are they going to do? And Keegan Aiken comes up, and you're like, okay, well, what's going to happen here? And Keegan Aiken comes in and absolutely dominates. Again, those 3 innings were huge because, again, it just takes the pressure off of everybody, right? It does. Aiken's a guy that has had inconsistencies this season, hasn't been great in certain spots, but for him to come in there and go 3 scoreless helped everybody out so tremendously throughout the course of this game. So look, again, Keegan Aiken gets criticism, and you know, some of it is very well deserved based off of how he's pitched this season. But where there is criticism, there also has to be praise when, you know, he does his job. And Keegan Aiken certainly did that tonight. Craig Kimbrell comes in, goes an inning, comes in that 9th, and ends up setting Philly down. So that's good. Look, I have 2 here. Look at this. Oh, no. Yeah, we have two up. Now we only have 1. Zach's trying to get it worked out. So we'll try to get Zach back as soon as we can. Then Yennier Cano comes in and wasn't, you know, wasn't wonderful for you, didn't give up a run or anything, but I guess when you're talking about quote unquote giving up a run, I mean, we can talk about that. Did have the walk, did give up a hit. Then Perez comes in and gives up that hit. Now, Tony Taters comes in with that throw to home plate, which was absolutely incredible. Unreal. Tony, we talk about the home run. That throw to home was incredible. So that is, there were so many good moments in this game. There were so many things that we can talk about that were positives. But, of course, the overlying thing here is Baltimore couldn't get the job done with runners in scoring position. They couldn't get the job done, just after the rain delay. It took such a little amount of time because, again, the vibes were so high after City got his hand in there. They were so high. And then just it all comes crashing down. Now, the big thing with after the rain delay, and again, if you haven't, I've seen some comments from multiple people that haven't watched the rain delay. So again, if I'm gonna preface, if you want to watch what actually happened in the rain delay, I'm gonna talk about it right now. So tune out. I'll give like a 10-second buffer and then we'll talk about it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So in that rain delay, the decision to walk Bryce Harper to get to Alec Brown. That was one that I didn't necessarily agree with for Brandon Hyde. Look, Baum had a great game. 3 for 5 on the day. Did have the 2-run double again. But it feels like Webb's spot was, look, Harper's an incredible player, right? Harper's a great guy. He's a player that you have to watch out for. But it seemed like Webb was he performs better. You walk Harper to get to Baum. I don't know. The metrics don't really back that up, but I could understand if you say it was the right decision because Harper is that guy. And who would you rather have up, Bryce Harper or Alec Baum? There's a metric side to look at it, and then there is a look, who's the player up at the plate right now? It's Bryce Harper way to look at it. So at the end of the day, you got to roll with the punches here for the Orioles. I mean, it's disappointing because how good the game was. And I think it's disappointing because everybody's been looking forward to the series, and to have a game like that and to come out it's this way in all of sports. When you have a game like that and you come out on the losing end, this game's going to be talked about forever. We're going to have to be reminded about, okay, well, look, the Orioles, they didn't come out on top. So everyone will remember. But again, rain delays just kind of mess everything up, honestly. And Quantum here summing it up well. It was a fun game. These kind of games are why we watch baseball. 100%. Look at this. We have someone here who's going to save me from just talking solo for however long this is going to go. It's not Zach Bollinger, who's had trouble with internet issues. It's the man himself. It's Ryan Ripken.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can. Are you doing all right after that heart stopper of a game?
Oh, I'm great. Honestly, feel like the adrenaline of the game kind of fell off with the delay, right? It was just this moment, the theatrics, and I even tweeted out, right? This game had everything. It had superb pitching matchups, timely home runs, star power home runs, extremely competitive at bats late in the game, and then a rain delay, right? Like everything you'd want. And at the end of the day, it goes to the rain delay starts again, and then the Phillies come up with some ways to score runs, and that's it, right? Game's over. And I was looking at all this, and I probably won't last too long here, Kev, just because your boys got to get up early. We did the pregame show, but I do want to preface this. I mean, look, this was a fantastic game. These are two of the best teams for a reason. If you guys watch the preview of the series, the Phillies had a 3.08 ERA going into this series. The Orioles were a 3.10. Okay, both have fantastic starting pitching. Suarez was great. Bradish was great. Bullpens are also in the top tier. But then one thing the Phillies do really well as far as offensively is that they walk. They work the count well. And you saw that. There was some really competitive at-bats. The Orioles did as well. There's no secret that the strike zone was expanded, but it was consistently expanded on both sides. So, you got to know in those situations that if it's going to be maybe a few inches off, that's the zone for the night. Even though it's a ball on a normal basis, tonight it's a strike. The umpire's calling it a strike, so it's just understanding that. But I got no complaints. Besides them not, I mean, you want to win the game, but I mean, it was a fantastic game. Phillies are really damn good. Nothing changes the thoughts for me on this game, and the Orioles had their chances, but the Phillies. This is going to be a great series. The biggest thing is Kevin. Is hearing what's going to happen with Bradish. And I know you talked about it or hadn't talked. What else do you want to talk about real quick?
No, I haven't talked about it. Now that you're here, I think it's a good time because Bradish goes 5 innings, 74 pitches, if I'm not mistaken. So again, he gets pulled after 5, and we saw him kind of flexing or shaking the elbow after a strikeout or a pitch in the second inning. So I know the broadcast went over that. And then we got the word from Brandon Hyde. I'm going to try to pull up the quote quickly, but there's going to be further testing, if I'm not mistaken, on Kyle Bradish.
Yeah, they're running tests. So
Right.
They said Bradish went to Hyde and said, my elbow's bothering me, and that was it. You can see the videos of him kind of shaking his arm early in the game, and you're kind of wondering, is it just a weird feeling? And people are saying, well, why don't you take him out? Well, Bradish has the final say on that, by the way. And if he's like, hey, I'm feeling good, he's going to stay in the game, And, I don't want to overstep on this too much. And Kevin, I try to stay hush on certain things just out of respect. But the thing that we do know, and this is something that we talked about from the beginning, when you're dealing with the UCL sprain, which he's had and what he was recovering from, it's not something that's just going to heal on its own. It's always going to be a problem throughout the season. A PRP, the injection that he got, is hoping to then help get him on track, and you hope that the elbow responds. But each and every start, you are going to have to deal with the fact that this is not going to heal on its own. He can be fine. He could be fine for 6 months. He could be fine for 3 years, or it could be something where it needs to get fixed now, right? That's the reality of the situation. So I'm not going to jump to it, but the thing that's at least discouraging is that Kyle had to leave the game. The velocity was starting to drop. And just it sucks for a guy that I know is put so much time and effort in trying to make things happen. So you hope for the best, but if we're being realistic with the conversation, you gotta this shouldn't be a shock to anybody that if the worst case is the worst case, this is something that has been talked about for a while, at least especially here with us, Kevin. And even talking with physical therapists, talking with people around baseball, this isn't crazy. So I just wanted to point that out. So we'll dive in more on that. And honestly, Kevin, I think we'll try to get Yoni back on too, so we can have a PT presence that can explain it even more in depth. But that's kind of what I have right now. But I'm not going to jump down that rabbit hole right now, but I just wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, for sure. And we just got some comments from Austin Hayes, and I see it was mentioned in the chat, and people are asking what Hayes said. So I'll read it off quickly. Hayes said, "These are our brothers in here. When you see your brother get hurt, it's tough. I've gone through a lot of injuries in my career, gone through surgeries. I know everything that comes with that. You just pray for the best that it's not going to come to that." So again, very vague. Obviously, it's going to be a somber tone when you talk about one of your teammates getting injured and potentially having to go through something. But you're right. I mean, we're not going to know until we know. We can speculate all we want to, but I don't think we really want to do that because we don't know at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, and like probably best case scenario, I expect Kyle's probably going to go on the IL. Best case scenario, if he doesn't, I'd be shocked. Just because if his elbow is bothering him and you're taking the time to come out of a game, I don't see them going, well, hey, you're feeling better, we're going to throw you in 6 days. I don't see that. So best case scenario, he's still going to miss time, but there's still a preparation you got to have. And, you guys, people can go back and watch. Kevin, we'll probably go dive back and find the videos here. And honestly, too, since we're doing more with the Holy Shirts and Pants members, Kevin, when the time comes to, like, I'll pop on there and try to talk to maybe if we do recordings, talk to the group a little bit beforehand and and talk about things as well. And I see that EC1 football, we have a new member, Kevin. Am I reading that right?
We do. EC1 football joining the members. So shout out EC1 saying I sent you a super chat. Go Orioles. I don't see. Do you see? Oh, here we go. Yep, I see it. Sorry about that. Here we go. MVP goes to umpire. They need to be fined. You were talking about that though, Ryan, where some of the calls might not have been correct, but they were consistent throughout the night. Where obviously number one, you want them to be correct, but if they're missing some calls, you don't want it to be against one team. You want it to be against both.
Yeah, he was calling the low pitch and everything east and west, right? Specifically away on the outside corner, specifically, or off the outside corner. But when it's too close for comfort, that's where you got to have to be a little bit more mindful. But specifically Adley Rutschman's was ball 4. Adley worked his ass off. The thing that's frustrating is, as a hitter, it's a ball, but again, when it's being called that night, it's irrelevant to whether you think the umpire is messing up the calls. If that's what it's going to be called, you're going to have to then plan accordingly. And that's a tough thing to do, though. Overall, and honestly, this is why framing still matters in baseball in this case. And, even though they don't have Real Muto back there for the Phillies, I'm going to mispronounce the last name for it, but I was talking about him earlier today on 105, and let me see real quickly so I don't. I think it was Marshawn. Yeah, Marshawn.
Yeah.
Anyway, a guy that had to be called up in a situation, and it's a big blow for them. He did a pretty good job down there trying to really sell that lower part of the plate. So it's part of it, man. It's a part of the game, but it was not just in the Orioles. It wasn't just in the Phillies' favor. The Orioles did benefit from it. Again, I'm not one that's gonna to jump to down these rabbit holes of things, man. I mean, I'm a baseball enthusiast. There's so many great things about it, and we knew it going in that this was going to be a game. And I saw someone mention here about Cano, about being in extra innings here. First off, with this bullpen, the Orioles bullpen gave up 1 earned run. And was that right in the hold on, let me check.
In the earned, yes.
1 earned run. And I can't begin to tell you how challenging it is to continue to put a runner on second base with no outs. And for Cano, I would have loved to have seen Cano stay in to face Schwarber just because of the I didn't love the lefty. I know you always think that's the better matchup because of a lefty on a lefty. But Cano's profile with that sinker, to me, was lining up better for Schwarber than Perez. And Schwarber overall has been feeling pretty good in those situations versus lefty. So, but for Cano, what I want to tell people, when you're putting out second with a guy who wants to be a sinker ball, sometimes you can be too fine. And it felt maybe a little bit that he was trying to be a little bit too fine because he was trying to make a perfect pitch. But the Orioles were in a chance right there. If Perez does get Schwarber, the Orioles are walking off the game and that's it. So, but tremendous job from the bullpen in general. Little things do matter. I do see comments about trying to bunt. In moments like this, in extra innings and postseason, little things, bunting, situational baseball is going to be very important. And today, the Phillies situationally were a little bit better. But man, these teams were both really, really good. I mean, it really was arguably, at least for in the Orioles season, you can put that up there as being the game of the year, even on the loss side.
I mean, look, if you're an Orioles fan, if you're a Phillies fan, if you're an MLB fan, you enjoyed watching that game. Now, again, for Orioles fans, the frustration comes in with, yes, your team lost the game. But that was an instant classic all the way through. Now, Cano, we talk about him, we talk about Perez, but Keegan Aiken, Ryan, I talked about him, came in 3 scoreless innings. I mean, he's had some up and downs this season. I think we can both acknowledge that, but he came in tonight and absolutely saved that bullpen multiple different ways. When he comes in, shuts down the Phillies for 3 innings, that also lets you rest your other guys, at least for moments like extra innings. And it's, the fact that he came in and did it, I'm still blown away by it.
Dude, Keegan Aiken was that was another tweet I had out. Keegan, regardless of the result, was the most valuable player on the field for the Orioles today, because I can't tell you how important it was, especially with Kyle only going 5.
Yep.
And your bullpen has not had a lot of rest overall. And for him to go out there and give you 3 innings, regardless of the outcome of it or the results, but then on top of it, he was sensational. And so it's a reminder, one, Keegan Aiken has that in him. He has the stuff. And 2, just how much that can save it, especially with an extra inning game. Because then imagine Keegan doesn't go that far. I don't even know what this bullpen is going to look like going into the game tomorrow. And, so that's just, again, it's all positives on that side here. And it's encouraging, especially for a guy like Keegan Aiken and in general for the staff. I mean, Craig Kimbrell too then, Kevin. I mean, I was really hoping Craig, he came in, he was going to get a chance to get the win. And I loved how he filled up the zone. He gave up that opposite field hit to Bohm, which I thought was still a really good fastball with 2 strikes off the plate, just better piece of hitting. But Kimbrell went right after him, wasn't intimidated. And to me, there's a lot of good pieces there that was great. So, and that's just the way it is. I mean, brain's short-circuiting a little bit here, Kevin. But like the Orioles, just for context again for people, the Orioles bullpen ERA, they were the 4th best going into this game tonight. The Phillies were the 8th. These teams are so similar. The only difference of the Phillies, they got some more flamethrowers, as people saw come out of the pen today. Guys that have high velocity, good stuff, but a little bit of kind of inconsistent control. But guys that really can be dynamite. The Orioles have more of the mixture of sinker ball, kind of can be more finesse, they have to pitch to their strengths. That's not power ball. But both are very effective, and both were very effective tonight. Did I lose you?
Yeah, they were. And can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Brian?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hold on. Oh, yeah.
I can hear you.
It's my internet. I'm gonna reset it real quick. No, you can't. Hold on.
Well, I'll keep talking here for a second while you reset your internet. In general here, this is what you got to understand with what's happening in when you play really good teams, right? So everyone wants to jump to it. The Orioles are very good against teams over 500. That's not me just saying it as being a homer. That's a fact. They have been. And for the Phillies, it's just a reminder too. They were beaten up a little bit. They're coming off a rough series against the Red Sox, and they come in here and they're a talented team that battled. So it was just a combination of a lot of different things. The Orioles are still a fantastic team. The Orioles are doing everything they need to do. The Orioles are still one of the top 3 teams in my mind in baseball. It happens to be that the other one's in the American League East with the O's, and they're playing the other one right now in the Phillies. But I think they match up really well with every team, so to speak. So, new day tomorrow. Shake it off. You move on. There's a lot of positives here. The only thing that you wish it was just that the game was going to be won, but it just doesn't go your way. Just got to move on. That is baseball for it. And Kevin literally is lost, Alex. His internet's not working, and thank goodness I came on. Imagine I didn't. Kevin's laptop probably just erupted here. And if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. And as for those of you that don't know, we're working on some rebranding because this isn't considered the Ryan Ripken show. This is considered the post-prom, whatever the hell the kids are calling it nowadays, with Zach and Kevin doing post-game shows for the Orioles after. They'll always be available. But the Ryan Ripken show will be every Monday and Thursday, but we're more extensively in. That's where I'll do my breakdowns of players. Did the one with Cade Povich, which talking about if Kyle Bradish is going to be out, Cade Povich is definitely going to be in moving forward. And it's a guy that if you want to see why he could have success, check out the breakdown that I did on him. It's really, for me, I've studied him for a while. I've been really impressed. Dean Kramer is going to be on his way back. He has a rehab start upcoming here. Hopefully get him back in a couple weeks. And I know a lot of people were talking about the Hayes play. Look, I think I think we're emphasizing a little bit too much on that. You know, whether you're saying he could have made the play or not, this is still a situation where it's not. There's still a doubt of the ball being played. This isn't a routine play at all. So I want to emphasize that it's not a routine type of play. It would have been a great play by Hayes, but people expect because Hayes is the outfielder that he is, that could he have? Yeah, maybe. But at the same time, I don't think that's, to me, it's not where the game came down to the wire, and that was the main thing. There was other parts of the game that could have gotten there. Boom, boom, boom. And like that's the thing. It's like if he caught the ball, in my mind, like could he have made a play? Like sure, right? Like, but it wasn't anything in the cast of doubt. And I think there's people also. Hayes is a great outfielder, so people can have in that conversation that yeah, he can go out there and make a play. And this is actually the words I wanted to get out of here. Yeah, to go and make a great play, well, still was it's a great hit. You know what I mean? Like Phillies earned it. Good swing. Would have taken a better play on the good swing. And that's that. And that's the way the cookie crumbles, man. Kevin hasn't seen that movie yet. That's for damn sure. Yeah, and Dredd, the left on base. Yeah, the Orioles left guys on base. And they even talked about this on 105.7 for the pregame show, is when you look at things overall, with two teams that can throw the ball extremely well, can you take advantage when the moment presents itself? And it really took until extra innings where you put a guy on second base where now the strategy changes and now it's truly situational baseball. And then for the away team, in some cases, it's an advantage to be the team that's up first because they can be a little bit more aggressive and you can put the pressure on, right? If you don't score and you're the away team, then you're like, shit, this is going to be brutal. But overall, the situational baseball for away teams, that's something, if you can get that first run or get that second, it really feels like you're in a fantastic spot. Phillies accomplished both. So just a really good game, man. Just a really, really good game. And I've seen people talk about division, playoffs. It's apples and oranges, everybody, to talk about what happened last year and what's going on this year. Now if it gets to the playoffs again, the Orioles lay an egg, okay, then you can talk about it's a preceding thing. But this Orioles team, this group, that's their first experience in the postseason. They had a fantastic year. And then, yeah, they ran into the World Series champs Texas Rangers that won 11 straight road games. And that's just the way it was. But the biggest thing is you just got to get into the playoffs. You want to win the division, but if you can get in and give yourself a chance, that's all you want to do at the end of this day. This is why there's so much time. And I know there's a lot of Kevin, can you hear me now? Are you live?
I can, yeah. Sorry, I was asking, can you hear me? And like your picture was frozen and my internet was dropping off. So yeah, it's my bad. I fixed it though. I'm here.
Yeah, and it's okay, Kev. You're a good kid.
Thank you.
You're a good kid. What was I going to say with so in this case, though, we're talking about this extra inning situation. I'm assuming we're talking about the 10th inning, obviously, with the wild pitch. Well, this is the other part where you're saying, playing small ball, what happens? Well, look, it's really the part of the order right there. It's Westberg gets hit, right? Then it's first and second, and you have Adley Rutschman at the plate. And it's me. I want Adley to swing. I trust Adley that he's going to go out there and give me a really good at bat. And he did. He chased the pitch high. And he was pissed at himself. That's baseball. It happens. Now, if this is lower in the lineup, yeah, I could see a bunt being laid down. But I'll take my chances letting Adley free swing, Gunnar free swing, and who am I blanking on? Tom Ryan O'Hearn pinch hitting. I'll let that happen every day of the week, especially with how successful that O'Hearn's been in pinch hit situations, how great Adley Rutschman's been in situational hitting. We've talked about with 2 outs and runners in scoring position, Adley leads the team in both categories in driving in runs in those departments. So, But where it is going to matter more is when you're at the lower parts of the lineup where you got to get things down. And again, it's situational. It's situational ball. So, you live with that. You got first and second with Adley, O'Hearn, Gunner, no outs. If I'm an Orioles fan, I'm feeling pretty damn good about my chances. They just didn't come through. So that is how it goes. Mike, it's a good point to bring up. Everyone knows how I feel about Seti. Mullins MVP is another bright spot where had the double, scored a run early, scored the tying run in that 10th. I'm just a big believer in him. And actually, someone asked me on X, like, how do I understand? Jonathan asked me this. How do I understand or feel so confident when there's overreactions and people are frustrated with players? Why do I stay more positive, or why do I feel like I have a pulse on guys? It's mainly because I've seen their mental makeup. And so for a guy like Cedric, I'm not sugarcoating anything, got off to a pretty decent start and then cold, very cold. Everyone understood that. The numbers dropped, and you have phases of baseball here, okay? So if I explain this for a quick second while Kevin tries to get on back in here, is that in baseball, you are going to have those moments where you need to be consistent, and you're going to hope that then – sorry, let me backtrack it. You have moments where when you square balls up, you need to get hits. Some of them at least be hits, right? That's one. Second thing is you need to get a little bit lucky, right? Have a little luck go your way. And the third thing is you're going to fail. You are just going to suck. You're going to be terrible. So if you know that one's already going to have a failure component in the swing of things, that was with Seti. Okay, he had that, but then he had no luck going his way, and any ball that he squared up, he was getting out. Those balls he hit against the Red Sox in the gap, great plays, hits a ball off the pitcher, ball goes right to first base. Those borderline pitches he's not getting in his favor. So everything just was rolling against Cedric. But the makeup of Cedric Mullins is what I want to talk about. He's a pro. He keeps going about his work. He's going to give you everything he has each and every day to make an impact. And those little things matter, and that makeup of players is what you look for. And that's why when people go about with prospects coming up and why do you trust veterans more, it's because the veterans, you have an idea of going, I've seen what they've dealt with on a consistent basis. There's unpredictability with prospects with that. You have an idea, but you're not sure yet. And that's something you have to kind of either wait and see. And that's why with the Orioles, like guys, Santander, Mullins, Hayes, they've shown you when they've been healthy over the last few years, their baseline of what they are doing. So it's just context here. I think Kevin's behind the screen. Kevin. Oh, Kevin. I don't even know what Kevin's doing nowadays. It's tough. Just to think, what would happen for this post-game live stream if I didn't come on and Kevin's just disappearing left and right? He's probably going to try to watch Talladega Nights. Austin Powers, specifically. On my flight back from Greece, I watched Austin Powers 1 and 2. It was sensational. And it was great. But we definitely need to get Kevin a new internet fund. That'll be next part of the thing, is to get a new laptop as well. Let me see if I can try to bring Kevin in again. Kevin, you're sideways.
Okay. Am I? Wait.
Do you not realize that?
No, hold on.
Does anyone else see this? And Maddox, I see. Sorry, I've seen this comment. I wasn't fully aware of costing the 3 games with the O's, but one thing that I will say is it kills momentum, right? And that was the bummer. It felt like the Orioles getting to the 11th before the rain delay, felt like they were in a good position. And rain delays, momentum's a real thing. Momentum was killed them for the team. And Kevin, you are now upright. Do you see it?
Go.
Did you really not see a difference?
It didn't show it on mine. Because I flipped, my camera wasn't locked. So I guess it must have flipped the other. I don't know what happened. Because then I was upside down and I tried flipping it the other way on its side, and it flipped me upside down. Then I flipped the phone actually upside down, and then I was sideways again. So then I figured, I don't know what the heck just happened.
Oh, God, Kevin. I don't know what I'm going to do with you, man.
I don't know what's wrong with my laptop, so we just decided to go with the phone.
You're a good kid. I don't care what everyone else in the chat says about you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Yeah, but for what you just missed in general, we just were catching up on situational ball, baseball, giving your team, having the heart of your lineup up in situational plays. Yeah, Mike, Kevin still hasn't seen any of these movies. It makes it very tough with the Ryan Ripken media to have Kevin involved, knowing that he just doesn't watch anything that I enjoy.
Well, it seems Ali finally put his foot down tonight, didn't he?
He did. He did. He's actually laying on the bed. He thought I was coming down there. And then I came up and like, you know what? Maybe I'll just go on and talk with Kevin. And good thing I did.
I know, because Zach was having worse trouble than me trying to get his stuff figured out. He's our stadium correspondent over there, and
I don't believe he actually went to the game. I know I saw him at Pickles.
What do you think he did?
No, I'm just saying. I said video, or it's not real, and he just didn't give me a video.
He was taking although maybe he was stealing somebody else's pictures and posting them.
Yeah, naturally. Just kidding. He doesn't do that. But I know people were talking about this whole like Harper walk. Yeah. I don't blame the decision to walk Harper just because track record here. Very good player. Now, Alec Boehm's having a great year overall, too. I mean, the guy's just driving in runs. I remember facing Alec Boehm, too, in AA. The dude hit a ball about, I don't know, 3/4 the way up on like the second fence behind, almost hit the scoreboard. Guy's got ridiculous power. But the thing with Alec Boehm overall is he's a guy that can go up there and he's comfortable with his abilities, where he's now realizing he's not doing too much at the plate. He's letting things come together. He's their leading RBI guy. Now, if you want to say why you'd want to walk Harper, well, Harper still has 15 jacks and 46 RBIs. So it's not like you want to just – and Harper is a MVP caliber player. Boehm's having a great year. Harper has the track record. So it's just pick your poison in that case, right? In this case, their poison, they chose to walk Harper. I'm okay with that. It just Boehm's playing well, put a good swing on the ball, whammy. There it is. Hoop, there it is. So, yeah, and I mean, also I'm seeing comments too, like, yeah, bigger left field too. There's no wall. The Great Wall of Baltimore is a thing. Giving Harper any type of advantage at Camden Yards, it is to right field, right center. Yeah, no, I'm good. Whammy. That's just kind of the way it is. That's the way the cookie crumbles, Kevin.
Yeah, I saw a comment earlier. I can't pull it up because since I am on my phone, I'm a guest. But and you talked about it right when you hopped on. But the comment I think was, the Orioles have had 3 games cost due to rain delays. Like rain delays have cost them 3 games. I mean, there was a shift because Seti had just beaten the dive home from the catcher, and the park was buzzing, everybody was going crazy, and then get this hour rain delay. I mean, it's tough. Like momentum changes. It almost feels like this was a tie game, but like it feels like it's a 0-0 game, top of the first, and you're like playing a whole new game once that rain delay happens, and it shifts momentum, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Well, so it's a real thing, and yes, Mike, it did go right over Kevin's head, but overall, and I joked about it with the video of Ollie on my on X account of being like, Ollie's coming down from the 10th inning now that we're in a delay, and that's what it was. Everyone's amped up, and as players, though, that's the hardest thing. The hardest thing is when you're in the heat of the moment, you have this adrenaline, you're fired up. It's the biggest moment of the game, the energy, the crowd, the enthusiasm, and all of a sudden, it just halted. And so that adrenaline where the heart's racing, you're excited, you're locked in, is being kind of set back. And for the Phillies, It's a perfect case. Chaotic. Their backs are against the wall. They're stressed. And now I can be like, okay, reset. Okay, good. Let's get this back on a level playing field. And for them, it did. And ultimately, they got out of it, and then they got out of it and they regrouped. And then that was that. I mean, Santander had a good pass at it, obviously. Kevin just leaves. Kevin just leaves. Tragic. Unbelievable. If you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. This is the prom or whatever Zach and Kevin call this, and we're going to work on rebranding this because that's going to be something this is a program that Kevin and Zach do post-game shows on for the Ryan Ripken Media. We are going to be rebranding the Ryan Ripken Show, where we talk more extensively on things around Maryland and with the Orioles and with these guests that we have coming on and Ravens. That'll be on Mondays and Thursdays, but this is the post-game section here. Thank goodness that with Zach, just Lord knows what's happening with Zach right now. Kevin has his phone sideways and then just leaving the chat left and right. And here I am being like, man, I'm going to have a nice night, go to bed early, been working all day, double duty, and Kevin's just nowhere to be found. I mean, he's where to be found. He just disappears. He's like Houdini. He's like Houdini that he can't Houdini himself out of his problems. If that makes sense. He's a guy that will get chained up and thrown in the water and then stays in the chains. So if that makes any more sense. I mean, Joe, I appreciate you, man. We might have to do that in the future here. So, and for those that are joining, we have talked about things with Kyle Bradish. I touched on it, when more information gets out, I'd be shocked if at minimum he doesn't go on the IL. That's the best case scenario is he goes on the IL. Worst case, I think everyone knows what the worst case could be. It's no secret you're dealing with a UCL sprain that he's been dealing with to come back from the injury. That makes it hard. That makes it something that you have to deal with on a consistent basis. Dude, Kevin?
No, that was on purpose. That was on purpose. I just thought it'd be funny. Got it. Look, the loss sucks, right? But it's comedic relief. You gotta, we can be upset about it, but we try to get at least a little vibes back. So just thought it'd be a little funny.
Oh, sugar.
You were really about to have it out for me. That was not.
No, I'm actually not. My patience is pretty good.
I know.
All's good. All's Gucci, man. And Ed, you're right. This is the thing where it's like, hey, and maybe this is good for the post-game shows for people. You can be pissed off, get your emotions out. 30-minute rule. It's past 30 minutes, though, but 30-minute hour rule, be pissed, whatever it is, and you move on. That's what the players got to do. Like, yeah, it was a tough loss. You can't do anything about it now. You got to wake up and go grind. And this group is, I got to go down the field before the game today and just kind of touch base with some guys. And, one thing that they do not lack is confidence. They love it. They love this opportunity. They don't get caught up in losing games. And that's been a big part. Like we're nitpicking things with the team, but besides that sweep against the Cardinals, the Orioles are a team that doesn't really lose a ton of games, consistently. Now that I said that, I'll be the problem. I knocked on wood, but I believe in this group. It's a really good group. The starting pitching rotation with or without Kyle Bradish is sensational. Really is. This part of the year. I mean, if you don't have Kyle Bradish, does that absolutely suck? Yeah. He's one of the best pitchers in the league. Why wouldn't you be happy? But having said that, Grayson Rodriguez, Corbin Burns, Cole Irving, Albert Suarez, Cole and Albert done a tremendous job. Dean Kramer's going to be on his way back, who had pitched well prior to the injury. And then Cade Povich, who I'm really excited about again. Go check out that breakdown if you think I'm just blowing smoke, which, I'm not going out there. And I think, Kevin, is it fair to say, I believe I'm objective, but I also think from what I've talked about, I feel like I just have a pulse on it of watching guys. And Cade Povich didn't get here because he was having luck. He got here because he was doing things right. And the thing that was making him successful is his way to mix pitches, but his deception. He has a Max Fried comparison. Fried throws harder, but look at a guy like Ranger Suarez tonight. Dude does not throw hard, but the dude knows how to pitch. The dude knows how to manipulate. It's a thing that Cade Povich has a lot of qualities where he can be very good.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it was only a matter of time before we saw Cade up. And I know that, whether we're not going to speculate on the Bradish thing, but however long he's out, if he's out, whatever it may be, they have a bunch of guys where we ask the question all the time, raise your hand if you knew who Albert Suarez was before he pitched for the Orioles this year. Oh, no. Oh, you've got almost faked me out there. I mean, he took it away. But, it's like these guys stepping up. And so Cade is a guy, obviously, first career starts can be wonky, right? Obviously, the walks were a thing in AAA a little bit, and obviously that popped up during his first start. But that Camden Yards start, look, he is not allowed to run at Camden Yards. So we can talk about that. So the depth of this pitching staff is incredible. Obviously, none of these guys, we talk about Suarez, Irvin, Povich, those guys aren't Kyle Bradish. They're not. Bradish is an ace. He's one of the most important pitchers on this team, but I think that regardless of what the outcome is here, the Orioles do have the depth to withstand it. It just hurts because, Bradish is so good when we know what he can do when he's healthy. We know he's an ace. But Povich is one of those guys who is going to be relied on and leaned on to help out. And again, when Dean gets back and Suarez and Irvin and these guys, it's why you should be winning a lot of these games where, again, you only give up, you give up 3 runs in the first 9 innings. We know this offense can hit. We know they're a power offense, but we talked about one of those matchups, Ryan, in the Orioles-Phillies preview. The Orioles are the best power hitting team in the league, number 1 in homers. The Phillies have allowed the least homers as a pitching staff in the league this season. So it's best on best, powerhouse versus powerhouse in opposite different ways. And the Orioles, they did get one tonight. Tony Tater's delivered a tater. But with how this team relies on the long ball, if they're not going to produce runners in scoring position, they're going to have to get a couple homers on this Phillies pitching staff, which, again, they've been really good at not giving those up this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's just great teams. These are great teams, and they're both teams where you got to take advantage of when the opportunity presents itself. You have to. Really, both good offensive lineups, both good pitching staffs. That's just what we saw tonight. And we can say that the Orioles, the Phillies were banged up too. They're missing some of their guys offensively, but who cares? I mean, their catcher that no one even heard about had a good game tonight. You know what I mean? So these are Major League Baseball players, and when you have a good team, we've seen that with the Orioles. The balance matters, right? And the Orioles have a lot of depth, and they have a lot of balance. So do the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, one thing I see people talking about with all these injuries, I told you this, Kevin, what was my motto when we're going to make an assessment with the Orioles here? When would I do it? Kevin is frozen.
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. So when was my assessment? When would I give an assessment?
You cut out for me. Can you repeat what you said?
When would I give an assessment about the team, about what the Orioles need to do for moves?
After June, when we get to July.
Boom. And so I even said this is the thing I said before, every team in Major League Baseball that's going to be contending will look for pitching. Guaranteed. Now for the Orioles, and with everything stacks up, we're going to see more and more what they're going to do, but I firmly believe the Orioles, just like a lot of other teams, are going to be looking in the pitching department. And we can kind of play more of those scenarios as it gets closer to July. But there's a reason why. You got to see what's going to happen here when you get to July and you're almost at that midway point, because then you can really look at what your roster can be like. And this is what we're going to find out, what injuries are happening, who's underperforming, what's the asking price for some of these pitchers. All of it matters. So it's good things to keep in mind. And Also people keeping in mind as well with all the stuff and the gauntlet of it. It's not like the Orioles aren't going to be playing the Phillies again. If they play them again, it would be in the World Series. They match up very well against the Phillies in my mind, but they match up really, really well against the Yankees. They've matched up really, really well against the AL East, period. They have kind of a psychological hold on the AL East right now, if you think of it that way. The Yankees are talking about it. On their broadcast, I forgot it might have been Avi Miller. I meant to quote tweet it, but their broadcast was shouting out the Orioles, great young nucleus, talented team. They're going to be here for a while. They took 3 or 4 from us. They're aware. Like, it's on teams' minds. I remember after that series, Yankees players were saying, we got to find a way to beat them. So it's a good place to be. But again, it is June 14th, right? June 15th now.
June 15th now,
so, it's just the way the cookie crumbles. And you know me, Kev, I'm an optimistic guy, and I'm objective, but I'm optimistic too. Yep. Great game, great team, all's good. And that's all I got to say about that, Kev.
Yeah, I mean, let's just go hopefully tie the series up tomorrow, go for the win on Sunday if that's the case. And look, if you can take 2 or 3 from the Phillies, I'd still consider that a pretty successful weekend, especially with how crazy and wild and up and down this game was for the Orioles. So back at it again tomorrow. We got 15 hours, 16 hours before the next game. So right back on the saddle.
I gotta go to a Waffle House because my buddy who finished last in our fantasy football league, as the commissioner, I have to go check in on him.
Oh, is that? Oh, so he's doing it now. Like it's live now.
He's doing it like he's getting up at 3 or 4 in the morning to start.
Are you getting up to go with him?
I'm not going at 3 or 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say, geez, it's so early, man. So what does he have to do? Like, can he do anything he wants in the Waffle House? Are there like challenges that he can do? Like, what does he?
We are talking about how he could take some hours off if he accomplishes certain feats.
Like eating waffles or something.
No, eating waffles is one of the. Yeah, if you eat Kevin. Okay, time out. I should cut you some slack here.
Yeah,
maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
Cut you some khakis.
Thank you.
Waffle House challenges, 24 hours at the Waffle House. For every waffle that you eat, you deduct an hour. So if you eat 12 waffles, you got to be there for 12 hours.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. But the Waffle House, they're big waffles, so it fills you up pretty quick. We've also had in the past, same guy actually cooked waffles at Waffle House. So I deducted an hour or 2 because he was cooking the waffles himself. I thought, like, that's elite. I love that.
So did he have to ask the staff to go back there and do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is incredible. That is incredible.
Yep. So that was
I think
electric.
kind of a soft launch. We are, I think, going to do some Ryan Ripken Show fantasy leagues this year, and we'll have, I think, different levels of them. But I think between the 5 of us, whoever finishes in last, I'm sure there'll be some sort of a punishment. So hopefully it'll just be Rocco, and that'll be easy. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Hey, Joe claims that eating waffles at the Waffle House is easy.
I wouldn't know. He's calling you out. I've never been. I don't know.
I know. I've had Waffle House for after long bus trips. We need food late, getting in late to a place, and I've had Waffle House after hours, where maybe I was out too long for that evening. But needless to say, I was satisfied when I went to Waffle House, and it is true. Anything can go there. Last thing before we get on out of here, Jason Benowitz, obviously friend of the show program, Baltimore Battery. Electric atmosphere tonight. Rough ending, but we'll get back at it tomorrow. Yep, that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
And once again, I'll say that's just how the cookie crumbles. 2 great teams. One has to win, one has to lose. Phillies did enough. They did more to win tonight.
Yeah, just a weird game. I mean, you have 162 games. You're not going to win them all. You're not going to win every clutch situation. Of course, there are trends we can take away, both positive and negative. We can talk about those and be objective about those, which we have been, I feel like, Ryan. But it's just go out there again. I'll repeat exactly what I said. Tie the series up tomorrow. Take it on Sunday. 2 or 3 from the Phillies. It's a good weekend. So that's what I got to say about that.
That's all, and that's what Forrest Gump would say, Kevin.
What would he say? That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
Well, I've only seen that movie like halfway through. So.
Okay. All right. Well, everyone here, I appreciate all of you. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Friday night or Saturday morning now. We're going to get some rest. Again, game 1's over. Move on to game 2. Enjoy your Saturday. We appreciate you guys. And hit that like and subscribe button on the way out for whatever we're calling this, the prom, post-prom, ipso facto. And we're getting on out of here. All right, guys. See you later.
All right. Peace out.